Is Tammy coming over this
She's
morning?
supposed to be here.
Okay. Well, I guess we could switch. We have Stephanie now. Stephanie, you wanna come up? We'll, switch places with you and Tammy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
May I have an executive session?
Sure.
In regard to personnel, we'll just start there.
How long?
10 minutes.
I move we go to executive session for 10 minutes for discussing non-elected personnel. Start at 8:40.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Okay. Rhonda, I have a quick question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
And for the commissioners. So, part of the grant that I have to document is how we communicate and to outside sources. We use the newspaper, we have a Facebook page, we make the postcards and business cards, which my drivers drop off in all the locations where we're at. But what I'd like to do is, I would like to connect with a program called WordStream. That way, anytime we make a change, so when I do a change on Facebook, I snapshot and I keep it because I have to turn in every piece of marketing. It costs money, but it's also, you know the little Facebook ads that pop up when you're going through your feed? I'd like to do those. And so you can set it to $9 to $50 or as much as you want. So I'm thinking like $9 a month, but does anybody else use that in the county?
Not that I'm aware of.
So I'm asking for permission to set up the WordStream account, because when I set up the WordStream, I only have to type in one blip, and it'll go to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But those little ads that pop up on Facebook will cost, but WordStream takes all of that. So may I set up that account and spend, say, $25 a month? I need to budget in the grant if I'm allowed to do that, and that's why I'm asking.
Right, okay. So then, anybody that's using Facebook in this area, or how's it
You
targeted?
target the area, so I'll target, actually, I'm gonna target, a radius of everywhere we go, because a lot of times, the social workers from all the hospitals or, like the dialysis clinics and any medical clinic will
Okay.
contact us for a patient to get them back and forth, especially our cancer patients. So,
So you target like a 4-county area or something,
yeah,
somehow?
yes.
I'm not exactly how Facebook works.
I can
all
also
magic.
target per zip code, so I'll target up at the, KU Med Center and Children's Mercy.
Oh,
It's
okay,
amazing how many, it's sad that we take so many to Children's Mercy right now. So,
right.
anyway, so I'm asking permission. So maybe we could set up, and I don't have the actual dollar amount for WordStream, because I need to get in there first to see it.
Right,
But I know my ads will be anywhere from $9 to $25, depending upon how I wanna set it up. So could I set a budget for my grant, and you're reimbursed back for it?
okay,
Advertising, right now it's reimbursed back at 100%. So may I set up with everything $100 a month on that? we spend about $400 a year with the newspaper and do a solid
Right,
12-month. We need to advertise, it's required to advertise in the newspaper for, one advertisement a month. And then we'll use this.
okay,
And I'm not gonna spend $100 a month, I just don't have all the bits and pieces till I get into it.
And all you're asking our permission is to put it in the grant, and you'll
I need
be
to put it in
reimbursed
Right.
the grant, and may
pretty much
I
100% for the next year for that.
engage in that program, yes.
I don't have a problem with
I don't have a problem with it either, cause I assume on Facebook, there's a way of tracking, so you get some idea how many people or have the potential to see that, or newspapers kinda hard to tell how many people's actually reading them, you know, so,
And I'll have an actual dollar amount for you when I come before you on Monday and
Okay.
sign off on my budget.
that. Okay.
And, Rhonda, I'll need an appointment next Monday, but you can tell me later. Okay, so that one, and then I am going to give you the Title VI program. You sign off on it every year. Last year, you signed a resolution because I had to change the address. That's Rhonda's copy. There's your copy.
What's this one?
That's Rhonda's copy. So this is our Title VI for the discrimination.
This is the one you emailed to us.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
I've looked that over.
There are no changes in that. Not only do we post, we have flyers and pamphlets that we have to keep posted in our vehicles, and this in our office.
And you looked it over, Pat, you didn't see any issues with it?
Looks fine to me. It's it's identical, I think, to the previous one.
Okay,
I need to call the newspaper today and put the legals in, because this I have to post for a week.
do we need a motion to approve this?
yes, that's,
Okay.
so I move we approve the Title VI plan as submitted for the general public transportation.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
You want this back?
Yes, let's look at that.
Okay. Which one, Rhonda got the one I need to sign?
Does Rhonda have, you want this one? I just need it.
Is that all the same, you want one,
I need to
one.
sign
one
one.
original? Or?
Will be once he signs it.
Oh, okay. I thought you had an originals.
I took yours and gave it to Fred to sign.
Okay.
Just needs one signature?
Yeah, grab
She
a
needs to make a copy.
Oh,
I just need the copy, Rhonda, because I'm gonna scan it. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna leave with you is the rough draft of the grant. I know that you're very detailed, so if you catch any typos, would you circle them for me? It does not have all the uploading pieces that I need to. This is just the narrative.
Okay.
This is a copy for Rhonda. I'll go ahead and email Commissioner Perkindall to him.
Right.
Here is what you're missing. So these are the required documents that I will upload in another section. Covered everything with my old sheet.
how many hours you got in this thing?
I don't even keep track anymore, seriously. Oh, and there was a glitch in their system which sent me into a redhead tizzy. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. So, and just FYI, as you're perusing through that, I want you to know that, currently, and I'm in the year 2021 right now. For
Okay.
our fiscal year. So, our all of our operating and administrative is being reimbursed at 100%. Generally, it's an 80-20. The county's responsible for 20, and they're both federal and state. It's separated out in percentages, are covering their 80%. I did not ask for a new vehicle this year. Our clients have medical problems.
Right,
And so we really try to take one, maybe two clients at a time in our vans, just so they're not packed full, and my drivers are diligent about cleaning after every rider. And then we have the buses that we use. So, where was I going with this? We've extended our hours. In order to meet the needs of our people, we have dialysis that we're picking up at 5 a.m. in the morning. Our work riders have increased by 67 more trips a month, taking people back and forth to work. There are a couple new grants that I want to apply for that specifically focus on dialysis patients and focus on the elderly, and there's one that specifically focuses on work. We talked about it a few years ago with the commuter grant. They've restructured it to where it's more attractive for us. Before, it was kind of a 3-year program where they would have support to get it off the ground. And then we were gonna take responsibility for it, or try to get employers to buy into it. That's no longer the case in this particular grant. I do want to apply for all 3 of those in the near future because it makes sense for what we're increasing. In the year, I'm gonna say 19 fiscal year, we had over 21,000 riders that we moved. And in the year 20, we're down to like 17,489. Don't quote me on the 489, but it's
Right.
right in there. So we've extended our hours, leaving. Danny's opening the doors at 4:15 a.m. And with our workers, we're working 7 days a week. Some of them, we're doing a second shift now at Orbis. That's not the correct name anymore, it's not in my head. And so, actually that's a third shift one. That works out great because we take them at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and then pick up and he rides along in another ride in the morning to a location. Our latest one, sometimes we're picking up at 8 o'clock in the evening. But we have local people working, and I feel it's necessary. Any overtime that's coming through is paid, your drivers are being paid at 100%. So I want you, if you have any opinion about that, let me know. But our medical appointments are just skyrocketed.
right, and that's by far the most important.
Yeah,
The dialysis is just a, cause you got a tight schedule they have to fit to.
and I think these people have been allowed to go seek employment because of our transportation service, and they're so grateful. Yeah, I think that comes second behind medical,
Right,
so, anyway, so I am ready to work on the budget piece
okay,
to this. Are you still comfortable with those hours while we're,
yes.
okay, all right.
So, vehicle needs in the future, what are you aiming toward, I guess, or what do you think the biggest need is? A small van, a mid-sized van, a bus?
The buses are out,
Right,
yeah, so, I can't answer that yet.
Okay.
Until we know what's gonna go on with COVID,
right,
then, right now, we're good. Oh, and we used to, with our set hours being, 7 AM until 5 PM. We used to have like 500 people a month that we had to turn down for rides because we just couldn't get them in there. Currently, the way we're doing it with our extended hours, 7 days a week, so any shopping needs, they'll ride along. We have dialysis on Saturdays, so they'll ride along and then do their shopping. The dialysis treatments on Saturdays are from 9 AM until 3 PM. And so those people that ride along, or we'd come back and pick some up at Carbondale so the van isn't so full, and then drop them back off and then go back to pick up. We had, in the last 2 months, only 3 denials that we couldn't move. So our extended hours are making a humongous
Right.
difference on that. And, I think it works and my people are happy,
Good.
so,
So if I just wanna go shopping, I call you up,
yep.
do I have to pay to ride, or,
I'm not gonna ask if you're a senior, but it'll only be $3 for a senior to go round trip. And that's something we need to look at in the future is, so we have a suggested donation of $3 for seniors, children ride free, and the other general populace ride at $5 round trip.
okay,
And it's, actually, the general populace is $3 within an in-county trip and $5 out of county.
okay,
And some of the transportation, when they're government operated or individually operated, or not-for-profit operated,
right,
they are going to a structured fare. But it's not much difference than, it's very economical for the rider.
well, okay,
I
so,
haven't seen one over, I think a trip to, KU Med is $25, and the rest of the rides are structured between 3, 5, and 7. So-
okay,
So that's something to think about,
okay.
but again,
But are people okay, they're making their donations reasonably well, or,
yes, yes.
okay, good,
I have, retrained my employees as soon as a rider gets on, and it's uncomfortable, for some people aren't as assertive, is to just, we have cash bags, to stick the cash bag out immediately. Would you like to pay your donation now? Generally, most people will go ahead and stick the money in the bag. And so, but we mark on our documents who's paid and who hasn't paid.
okay,
So we're keeping track, dollar amounts. And we keep track of that. Every week we put a deposit in the county on our donations, so. All right, I think that's all the nitty-gritty stuff.
okay. Heather Cooter,
So the people that pay for the trip, that money's put in a county bank account,
It goes into the general fund here.
the county general fund.
Mm-hmm. Even our reimbursement money goes into the general fund.
Because the program is paid for by a government subsidized grant.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they pay, that money's going into the county account.
Mm-hmm.
And where's the reconciliation sheets that show the weekly deposits with the number of riders and names of people and things like that?
We have a HIPAA rule, so the names of people stay within our office, and the reconciliation sheets, I do a monthly report and they're kept in my office.
Well, HIPAA would only cover medical. HIPAA
Right.
wouldn't cover shopping trips.
No, it covers all of it.
Right. So there would be some names that you wouldn't have to be.
Mhm.
I just know there might be people concerned that a bunch of people paying cash, that's a lot of money to be transporting on a bus and then getting to the bank, and if there's no sheets that reconcile with it.
No,
It's
we
just one
have,
of those-
our rider, or our drivers document on their trip sheets, who's paid, how much, and then, Wendy sorts through the cash, and we make a weekly deposit. Mhm. So, and I make my monthly report for that. So I can tell you, because I just finished up with all my documentation and my MTD report, we had about $8,000 in suggested donations last year.
Last year, so then a lot of people aren't paying. I mean, I just figured if you had 300 people a month at $5,
And
or
some of
500
them,
people a month at $3, for $1,600 for the month.
some of them are one-way trucks, $1.50. I mean, it's a gamut, so, yeah.
Mr. Hurt,
Yes, Stephanie, you know that, see, I came here in, let's say, 3 years ago. I didn't have a vehicle at the time. And so you guys couldn't take me to a lot of places even back that time. And I
Right.
understand because you didn't have enough buses and you wasn't getting. So what I've been hearing out there is, and what I had to do at the time was go to Coffee County. But when you go there, you gotta pay $20-some or more to where you go. So I appreciate, you keeping the costs down. Are you gonna be able to make the means for taking care of the gas and everything proper with those amounts that you're charging?
All of our fuel is reimbursed at 100% by the KDOT.
But I applaud you for that, because see, and there's people that are now having to go to Coffee County, and you're charging them going higher than that. So like I said, I think this is a good thing to do, to get more buses for you to be able to accommodate the people, especially for our sake. So,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you.
these KDOT grants have worked out pretty well,
Yeah.
and so we want to keep them going,
And,
as long as KDOT has a credit card out there.
Yes,
Yes,
okay.
Stephanie, quick question. On the KDOT grant,
Mhm.
is it capped? I mean, is there an amount we put it in for?
No,
And here's what I'm asking. When we're talking about the overtime for the driver pays, is that ever gonna get capped where you go above that, then the county has to pay it, or does it stay where the KDOT's gonna pay it? If we have $350,000 grant and we spend $550,000, is KDOT gonna pay that other $200,000, or is that something that has to be in the grant up front?
I will confess to you that I have run out of money before, and then I just reapplied. I think the first year that we ran out because of, it wasn't because of overtime. This is really the first year that we've had an excessive amount of overtime. But what did we run out for? So we reapplied for about $45,000 that first year that I ran out. Oh, I had hired more employees than I expected. And this has been a humongous learning curve for me due to the fact that, yes, I have multiple vehicles and tires, but I've never put 45,000 miles on my tires a year. And so they would last longer. And so in calculating some of the things that I've come up against with the grant, I didn't budget enough then. We had, maintenance, let's see, what was our big maintenance problem? We had a transmission, and so the first year I did receive another 45,000. Last year, we received 86,000.
So there's no chance that they could turn that down, we're gonna get it regardless.
There's always a chance, but I have to, a lot of things, I get permission first when I'm getting close, and if this is, and so if that were to happen when we're getting close to the end of the budget, and I've always done this, I've gone back, first I speak with these gentlemen, and then I'll call KDOT and say, okay, here's where we're at, what do you want me to do? So I shorten up my hours, or, I mean, there's options.
So with it being 100% grant, does the county still have to put in the contract that they'll guarantee X number of dollars from the general fund being available?
Right now, it's 100% grant, and that's due to CARES Act money,
Right,
so,
the last grant I seen that showed the county how to do it, that we guaranteed $95,000 into the account.
right,
Do we have to do that again, even though it's 100% grant?
you will have to do that again, they will have to do that again next Monday,
So they have to guarantee
once I
the money.
put my
to do it.
budget in. So, yes. Okay, any other
Okay.
questions?
not this time.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tammy, you were next.
When did you get her, Tammy?
I just need a contract for East Central, and it's exactly like it was last year, so I didn't think you needed to see it. And also, do you have me blocked on your phone?
Not that I know of, but my phone does some strange things.
Okay, well,
You tried to call me or text me, and I sent a test back to you.
I never got it.
Okay.
This is what, the guys that are doing the heating and cooling, and if you go this way, that's why one of the reasons it's cold. That's on the east wall from the door coming in, clear back to the kitchen area. And I don't know what it is called or whatever. He said if you stop by, he'll explain it to you.
Okay,
But you see daylight. When he got up there to mess with the ductwork, he's like cold air hit him in the face, and he couldn't figure out what the deal was. And then all along there, you can see daylight. So
okay.
that might be why our utilities are kind of.
Might be where the coons are coming in too.
No, that was from the hole in the back.
Okay, yeah,
At least they didn't make a nest.
okay.
So anyway, but if
Yeah.
you sign that, can you sign that, or do you have to keep it for a while?
Let me see what it is here first.
Because I want to make a copy before, and
When they
It was-
gotta finish on that job?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't asked. I mean, they don't have the air conditioner or heating or whatever the things are that go on the roof yet. But they guarantee me that it'll be done way before the end of the year. So,
Oh, this is just the agreement to let them
yeah,
use,
it's just for
use
the
it for the
nutrition.
nutrition
Yeah,
program.
it's just for the nutrition.
Same thing, okay.
Yeah, it's just exactly, I pulled the other one, and it's not changed any from the other one from
Right.
last year.
Okay,
And it was due October 1st, but they didn't get it out until after that, so.
okay. I move we authorize the chairman to sign the building use agreement with the nutrition program.
I second that, Fred.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Why do you have a rock on your desk?
That's an alleged rock.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
There's a story behind that.
okay.
The day is the 11th.
I kinda wonder maybe if when they check that, west wall, if maybe that will have something to do with why that, ceramic room might be cold, so cold?
Well, the whole distribution system in that whole building is so messed up, you know.
Well, daylight's not a good thing.
When it was a grocery store,
Daylight
a
probably
lot
still
of
ain't a
the
good
heating
thing.
is generated by the coolers that they would have had in
Oh,
there.
well, that's true.
And so the rest of the building is kind of based off where you got the coolers set.
So you want a little fresh air coming in?
Well, and then, but when you take all the coolers out, then your whole distribution system is messed up, so, yeah. And it just got added on here or there, you know, piece at a time, and so I can see it's kind of a strange.
Yeah, Jerry told me that was 3 buildings at one time that they put together.
I don't know
Long
back
time
what it
ago.
was years ago, that old tin ceiling in there's kinda neat though. It's got the old stamped tin ceiling up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
It's-
Danny said that if he had time, they'd take some of that down because people pay lots of money for that now.
Yes,
Yeah, it's pretty high.
so, but,
It is pretty cool.
but I don't remember what that was before at the grocery store.
No problem. But other than that, that's it.
Okay.
Do you need a motion to pay the bills? Are you ready to do that?
Yes. Okay, I move,
I move we pay the bill.
okay, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
You want me to call Jackie to see if she can get here before Glenn
Yes.
comes?
She's gonna have to run.
Well, can- He's being conservative. He was around someone that possibly,
I know exactly who you're talking about.
well, I don't know the situation, but yeah, he just wanted to be safe, so he's staying home today. So.
Fred wanted to go to.
She's on her way, sorry.
This question, so on last year's grant, it said we had to put $97,000 in there, whatever it was. So where's that money now? Where's that money go? If it was put into that grant, where's that money, since it was all paid at 100%, where does that, does it come back?
It's, we've just pledged it, we haven't spent any of it, so
So doesn't-
it just stays in the general fund, I assume.
I got in on the middle of the conversation.
On the grant money from KDOT,
Yes,
we had to put $95,000 or whatever, I forget the exact number, escapes me a little bit, but somewhere in that
We
neighborhood.
pledge that we cover it.
it all goes in and out of general fund,
So where does that, so that money went out of the general fund for where?
to wherever it's paid to.
We didn't pay, we haven't paid
So
it
we
yet.
didn't have to pay
Oh.
anything.
We
it
didn't.
stays at-
So it-
Right, it stays until it's,
Right.
there's a bill to pay for it.
Okay, so that's my
Right.
question, since
Right,
it was paid
sorry.
at 100%, none of that
Right.
95,000 was spent.
But we just have to ensure, I guess, or that we will cover it.
Well,
If,
but my question is, somebody come and asked, and they said, we wanna know if we spent any of that money, it's gonna show we didn't spend any of that money.
Right.
It was all 100% paid.
do you have a separate line item in the
Yes,
general
yes,
fund for,
yes.
for public
Right,
transportation?
yes, it
So-
has its own,
So
Department.
did we spend any of that 90,000, or does it all been 100% repaid?
well, we spent it and then they refund it to us. Like a lot of it is, we expend it, like the gas, we pay for the gas and then
Okay.
KDOT pays us back.
So we get 100% paid back on everything we pay out of the road?
I don't know that for gospel, I'd have to pull it up and look at it. I mean, I'm not gonna say every penny comes
That's
back
my
to the
question,
penny.
because it's been sounded like that it's 100% they pay everything, but I'm not so sure that's correct, that's why I'm asking that.
I
Which
don't think
care, but
everything
we got a
that,
good general
I don't think
transportation program. I just wanna
everything
make sure
that comes
that's-
out of that fund is part of the grant. I mean, there are things that come out of it that I don't think are part of the grant, but I don't know without printing everything out and looking at it. I mean, that's, you know.
So, next meeting, they're gonna talk, or has this thing been done, or are you guys doing this at the next meeting, what are we doing?
Next meeting.
So at the next meeting, can we have that, where we know what we did, if we spent money?
What printout do you want, 20 or
It does,
19 or 20?
well, right now, you're probably still in 20, so
Right.
it'd probably be 19.
Okay,
Yeah.
And I guess it's just to see, it doesn't have to be a long drawn out item for item, it's just, here's how much money was spent, here's how much money was replenished. So you know if there's a number then that's, you know, if it's 10,000, it's 30,000, if it's, maybe it's nothing. Does that make sense?
yep.
It always brings, the only reason I ask is I know there's some warranty stuff, that somebody tell you it's 100% warranty and all of a sudden it's about
Well, yeah.
80% or 70%, so if it's 100%, that's great, but if it's not, then
Right.
where does it, you know, where does the other money that's not funded, but who knows what those numbers are? It's not something.
But
that's
we-
full.
We might have fixed the garage door on the building and we aren't gonna charge KDOT to do that, you know.
Well, it is if it's part of the grant.
Well, you know, depending on how.
Because it's been said that the building is part of the grant, so if the building's part of the grant,
Right.
then they should pay for the building expense.
Well, okay, that's what I said, but depending, that's,
Pat, you wanna sign this?
My big question was this though, is when you go for a grant, I've never seen anybody that's gonna say, yeah, we'll give you an unlimited amount. That was my question to Stephanie, is if we go above that, because we're talking a whole bunch of overtime, and they're gonna pay that, great, but what happens if you send it and they don't? Somebody's gotta pay it. And the question was, is that built into the grant or not? If that's
Well,
something it is, it's something you gotta go read.
my understanding, they've been encouraging her to apply for more grants because they have funds that are not being distributed.
So we can do
Because
that.
not every county's doing this, and so, you know,
So that's something you can do up front though, not wait till,
right, so,
if you don't use the money, great, but if you use it all, that's fine too.
right.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning,
Yeah. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good.
Good.
I invited Brock Schwartz with Foley Equipment to come in this morning
Okay,
to visit with you about Sourcewell.
okay,
Kinda, he's been involved, you can sit down.
yeah,
He's been involved in it through equipment sales and everything, and probably can explain it more than actually you get off of the internet.
okay,
But where he's had firsthand experience at it, why, let him.
okay,
What have I got here? Three?
Yeah, there should
Three or
be
four
three copies.
different-
Yeah, so the one that's color with the blue on the front, it kinda gives you a ballpark of, we've, just printed some stuff off the website, basically just talking a little bit of what the Sourcewell is. It's kind of the same discussions I've had with some other counties, I know. It's been an avenue as a way to go get some equipment that's already, equipment services. I've got a friend that's a firefighter, station chief, they use it to get their gear through this because they want to get, they're looking for value, they're looking for something that meets their needs, so. I guess a couple things to take away on what this is it's Sourcewell, and there's different, things similar to that. This is primarily the one that's been most popular. They've gone out, and they've basically solicitated bids and gone through a process, and so within that, within the qualifications, there's a page in there that'll talk a little bit about, how many, there's some different vendors that supply quotes. They actually don't accept everybody. You gotta meet a minimum standards, and it's based off a point scale. So a lot of times what they'll do is based on, like if you, there's a page there, it says Form G. It might be pricing, it might be, industry success, parts and service, warranties. There's certain things that they grade on a scale up to 1,000 points. And so what they're trying to do is give you guys an avenue to select the best bid for your particular area. You may, for one, we've had this in some areas where a certain supplier might be low bid, but they don't have the parts and services, so it puts you guys in a tough situation using your tax dollars and using your guys' CapEx money effectively. So that's where Sourcewell comes in is if you're looking to replace something, I mean, I know from a school standpoint, I think they do some stuff there. There's within the school side of it all, there's technology, there's buses. Your guys' side, which is more applicable, is probably more equipment for at least what I do. But if the process would be, hey, we're looking to replace a piece of equipment. So the way it works is there's a list price. You get a minimum discount that they have as part of this procurement process. From there, you spec the machine on what meets your needs. Because a machine in California, if they went through this process, may not meet the need here based on a config. So there's always a minimum pricing spec that's a part of that. So it kind of lets you a la carte it a little bit, understanding that was a part of the original bid process. So I know it's a little bit different to think about, because usually you guys have to go to bid to get what you want. What they're doing here is they've already solicited multiple vendors, and then they're giving you that opportunity to go through that procurement process that's already occurred to find what meets your guys' needs. Because sometimes, we've had some things where low bid isn't always the best bid.
right,
And so it's a little bit of the highlight of this when you start getting into it. We've had some, I think, county down south, I think it was down in Coffee County, you can talk with Jeff and Wayne down there, but, they were looking for truck bodies. And they went through this to get the correct truck body that they wanted for the back versus going another route. Because had they gone to their local bid in the past, they were gonna have to go with the way their bylaws were at the county level, was gonna force them to go to a direction that was gonna be really hard to get what was gonna be the best bid for them, so they went through a Sourcewell contract. We've done this with Franklin County on some things, on some motor graders, and they did an 816 compactor this way. It was priced through Sourcewell. So from a pricing perspective, this doesn't change how we price anything. All it does is it gives you guys the avenue to quicken the process up in terms of it's already been bid, I'm gonna go through this contract, and it allows you guys to go get something that way. So it's a avenue that's out there. Like I said, there's representatives, if you guys would like more questions to talk through, that we've used in the past. I know they spoke at I think it was 2 years ago, 2-3 years ago, they came down with the county association, like down in Wichita, talking a little bit about that. The way this is handled is that all manufacturers, so like on the one Form G, if you go and look, all those manufacturers are paying a fee to Sourcewell to help manage that process. So there's not a fee to the counties to go
Okay.
through this. So that's the one thing that's important that way. It's free to sign up, and that's a way for you guys to go and look at, securing the equipment, securing those bids or securing that information. You're not delegated to one manufacturer. I think that's the big part too. It's up to you guys. We've seen some where they still go, hey, I'll call this person, call that person, just to see what the options were, to get an idea of what the pricing is. So, that's probably the most important part, is understanding it gives you options, but it also is a way to go through that process a little quicker, because everything's already been bid. If that makes
Okay.
sense. It's just building that machine or pricing that to how you guys would like.
So the company sets that price and then the dealer,
Yeah,
you be a participating dealer?
Yeah, so within that, each manufacturer has a list price, and then what they do on Sourcewell is they go to Sourcewell and say, hey, we'll offer a minimum price off this list. So like within our product, the solar motor grader to a nearby county, I brought the price list in, and we went over and built it a la carte and said, all right, here's your discounts. Would you like to add a ripper? Okay, it's gonna add this back. That was based on the pricing that was through Sourcewell. Understanding there's a minimum discount was in there. And all the manufacturers, when they support that, they're supporting documents where they have, off their list price, there is a corresponding discount. So not every manufacturer has the same discount for each machine, so there's gonna be the
Right.
same list price. So there's gonna be a variance on discount to get to the same end price. So within like the bid system here, is they would have gone through and said for a 3-yard loader, Caterpillar supplied this machine, this list, this discount, these items came to a price, and they judged it on competitiveness. Same thing with Deere, Komatsu, I think there's Bomag, Case, Doosan, Dynapack, Grove, Hyundai, John Deere, Koboko, Komatsu, Link-Belt, Roadtech, Wirtgen, Volvo. Those were all manufacturers that were a part of this submittal and went through Sourcewell. Because actually, if you look, there was an actual solicitation, so it'll be this page here. These were RFPs, it goes through, talks about these were all various suppliers on the construction part. And it talks about how the proposals went through the evaluation. But if you look at the very end, in 2019, of all those that went through, there was only a certain ones that were on the last 2 pages. They just give, it talks about how they're, because of the certain reasons, they only awarded contracts to a couple. So I think that's a little bit of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So on the construction side, there's 9 vendors that made the recommendation of the committee based on certain criteria.
Is that based on different types of equipment?
Yeah, there's certain equipment that certain vendors supply, so not everybody has an asphalt roller. Not everybody has a motor grader, or everybody has a dozer. But within those models that they submitted to the committee, it's a part of that bid. So it's just saying, it's not, for guys that don't make a dozer, that information wasn't put in there, so they wouldn't have a dozer price with a.
So they wouldn't have.
No, they wouldn't have anything in there.
Contract.
Yeah.
Okay,
And so, some for, the John Deere's, the Cats, Volvos, let's say, all those guys mostly would have had excavators. So they would have all had an excavator with pricing they submitted to the committee. So each item in each model was reviewed, because even with what I get from Sourcewell, each model has a different discount. There might be certain rollers may have X, and then those may
Okay.
have Z. So I think that's the part of looking at it is how they go about it. So they're evaluating the competitiveness of the bid. They're taking in parts and service. They're taking in the warranty. It's a way for when they're looking at it, when they go to judge this, a part of their point system is they're valuing on what's the best bid, or you make
Okay.
minimum qualifications.
okay,
So, And within that, that gives you guys the choices regionally to say, hey, this supplier may not be around, so if I go to an open bid, or a certain bid process, and they're the low bid, but I can't get sales and support, but due to how my county bylaws are, I have to take that. Well, is that the best thing for my county?
Right.
So, and that's an avenue, like I said, it's another avenue for you guys. Same thing, my friend that's station chief on firefighting, is back to where the gear was made. They wanted to go get the gear that was made domestically. They didn't want to have to go to a bid process and get gear that was gonna come from a certain part of the world. So they wanted to have an avenue to make sure it was the best value for what they were going.
Well, we hear like police cars, sheriff
Yeah.
cars,
Yeah.
that the local dealer can't compete because one other brand is
Yeah.
getting factory pricing
Yeah.
and they can't do it.
Yeah.
So, does that,
I would assume, I wouldn't know exactly, but there is autos and there's fleet where you might be able to go through there and
Okay.
and go look at that contract as a way as an avenue. I'm not for sure on how that is on their end. I just know from, our standpoint, it's avenue to, like I said, for especially the big thing with Franklin County was for a compactor is gonna live in a landfill. There's
Right.
certain manufacturers from overseas that it was not gonna be a 30,000 hour unit, but it would have been
Right.
low bid, so this was an avenue for them to get the best value for what
Okay.
they were doing without having to create a long thesis, understanding the others weren't gonna have the sales and support, and they were basically coming up with a low price.
okay,
So, some guys said it's kinda like tires. Do you buy the cheapest tire? Do you buy the middle of the road? There's a value depending on what your
Right.
expectation is on life cycle and then what you're wanting to go from there. If that makes sense, so.
Does any of these companies that are listed here that are part of this consortium, do they own this Sourcewell?
No, Sourcewell it is an independent entity that went through the procurement process in the state of Minnesota. And it's, like I said, I don't know the legally behind, but the actual classification of what their business is stated at, but it passes all the procurements, state of Kansas, Minnesota, all those, but that entity is funded strictly by those that are applied, they pay a fee
Okay.
to be a part of that, to go through that procurement process, and that's where, I don't know the hours they spend, but they go through, on those contracts, and then they go through the process of creating their approvals. So not every manufacturer is approved, but there are qualifications that you've gotta have, and that's part of their, system, why they have that, on 1,000 points, they're pricing based on certain things they do really well or they don't do well. So, but it's all relative depending on how your guys' bid process is, and, some may say lowest, some say best bid. This is an avenue that, some have used, at the county level,
right.
so.
If a municipality agreed to use this, do they have to use it, are we contracted to use
No.
it on every purchase? Or
Nope.
just another source?
It's just another way for you guys to go. So.
Is there a cost to the,
There's nothing to you guys. The manufacturers are actually, they're the ones that are paying. So like if, the last time we used one, we had to know Caterpillar, if there was a machine sold through that program. And Caterpillar pays off that transaction. It gets reconciled with Sourcewell, and there's a fee off of that the national manufacturer is paying directly. Fully equipment, all we're doing is reporting up what happens behind the scenes. That's between Sourcewell and Caterpillar. Same thing if it was a Deere or Komatsu or
Right.
Hyundai, whoever was approved on the list, there's a fee that's being taken there. It's not being done at the governmental level or the county level, so.
Okay. Mr. Bailey?
Two questions.
Yes, sir.
Do you work for Sourcewell?
No, I work for Full Equipment, so all I was doing is, I've done deals with this through that, so I was more or less trying to help Glenn with some, background.
My next question is, you talked about the minimum discount they give, so is there a maximum discount?
That would be up to the, I guess up to the, I don't know what the max discount would be, because the minimum discount is, I guess, would be based on Sourcewell, from a
But
max.
there's more discount than an individual dealer could give, they're not locked into what
No, that's the worst case scenario, that, correct, it's actually, so let's say if it was let's say the discount was 30%. If the local dealer chose to give 35%, they could.
So you still would like, I mean, even if you use Sourcewell, you'd still, you could have, if you just look at Caterpillar, you could have 5 different Caterpillars bid it, because they all may give different money.
In the state of Kansas, that wouldn't happen though, because each dealer in the state of Kansas were,
Right, you
but
go
the-
like in a territory.
yeah, so we're obligated by that. But in theory, yes, you could.
Yeah,
But you can still get more than what Sourcewell will say if you do a bid and they choose to maximize that and not minimize it.
Yeah, so the thing, like, for instance, if we go back and I'd have to pull a document, is the minimum discount from Sourcewell on a motor grader, that price, is X. Well, for what we know on governmental motor graders for the state of Kansas, there's additional discount that we, full equipment, provide.
Right.
So,
So-
and that's where the end number on the pricing is still the same. They're giving a minimum discount off there, and then there's regional stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
So there's still, okay.
Yeah. So just because you went through that, you're not gonna see an inflated price compared to if you went to an open bid. Because
Well,
there's
you
certain,
can still do an open bid using that, because you can use that as part of your open bid, could you not?
depends on how your procurement was, I would assume so. I mean, it's just another
There'd
solicitation.
be another bid that would be in the mix that, somebody that chose, that didn't pay the money to be in that conglomerate to pay the fee could still bid it. If, and you have to look at them individually, but there's some businesses that may not wanna pay into something that they figure is for all the big guys.
Yeah, well,
I mean, there's different ways. of looking
yeah,
at it.
in that case, we would just submit one bid as we normally would. We wouldn't actually reference the contract,
right.
so.
Well, when I was talking to your generator guy the other day, he mentioned Sourcewell and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
So,
and that's,
I'm, it's kind of new to a lot of us that,
yeah, and
So-
hopefully when things calm back down, hopefully they'll, I know they've come a couple times to talk about it. It used to be known as the NJPA, which is National Joint Powers Association, which was a
right,
purchasing cooperative. So, but hopefully a little bit of that information will give you guys, some stuff to read into, and like I said, it's just back to, an avenue for you guys to look at equipment and look at different things beside equipment. There's supplies, there's technology, there's other things beyond what I am a part of. It's just, I've dealt a little bit with some other of your fellow counties, and it's a way to, they've gone to do certain things, so.
okay,
Not a fix for a cure-all for anything.
yes.
One more quick question. Does the state of Kansas use that?
Do not know. That I do not know.
Well, that's how you got up was, when, did you buy a motor grader through the state contract bid list or whatever?
Not the motor grader, we done a dump truck.
Okay, you bought a dump truck on the state,
Right, that's not this, that's why I was asking if the state buys.
and well, somehow he got signed up to it, and he didn't know how, for sure, how we got signed up to it. But if we,
So we
apparently,
already signed up with Sourceless?
Yeah.
they,
I thought that's what he was asking us. So
Well-
we signed up for it.
No, I'm just trying to help
Okay.
everybody, yeah, cause it just help everybody in terms of just where
Right.
it's been used in the past. And so,
What we basically did was just piggybacked off of state contract on that.
right,
Yeah, we pretty much, on that one, we were pretty much at the mercy of the way that they had
right.
their trucks out. And,
But the state says, we're gonna buy 50 dump trucks, here's what it is, and they allow you to add on, and we'll make it 51 instead of 50.
in some cases, they let us piggyback off.
Well, right,
But, some scenarios, they don't allow
right,
too.
yeah,
Like salt, you can't piggyback off KDOT's bid price on salt.
right, okay,
yeah, cause I know there were some contracts, I think we've bid on the past, that will have a non-piggyback, because that particular deal, we went to manufacturer and got incentives for that particular deal, and then.
okay,
So I think it's all based on the supplier.
right, okay,
You can bid this Sourcewell, you can buy your salt through that.
No, it doesn't list anything on the.
Okay, well, I asked
Right.
that because you said you couldn't piggyback off state, so that's why I asked that.
okay. But apparently you can buy office supplies and, you know, there's all kinds of different contracts out there. So,
They have like 17 different pages or something like that, a list of vendors. That's
Yeah,
part of the contracts anyhow, at current. Some of the contracts around as far out, I say it was 2023, I think. Farthest out.
yeah, because usually they're like a five-year contract, and, I don't know if the last one, there was a renewal, I think in 19, but, at least I know on that on the construction side, but I'm not for sure on the other stuff, so.
right, okay. Okay,
Well, I may have not answered any questions at all, or maybe give you something to think about. I
Well,
really
yeah.
just was trying to,
well, I appreciate you
guys
coming down and
a little bit
explaining
of
it to us.
information and some ideas floating
Yes.
around. I know it's not, what you guys are going through isn't easy, trying to figure out the best way to get stuff done.
Right.
so.
Very good.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you all.
Thanks, Brock.
Yep, see you.
Pass around some pictures, of what the CD pit looks like. That was Friday, still plain wet. They didn't work on it at all there last week, of course, with the weather, but, are they back over there, Jeff?
Not today.
I assume there was nobody for the road closing because we missed the time.
That was one time.
9:30.
Oh, okay.
But I don't see the, well, I don't know the one party, but I don't see the arms fees at all.
No.
So I don't think there's anybody here for the road closing.
The other party was actually out of Colorado, so I kind of know.
Oh.
I didn't realize that was today.
Yes. November 2nd at 9:30. We
Okay.
kind of missed it, but.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything much more anyhow, so if you wanna go into that, Ron, you can, I guess.
They, the pictures look like maybe they're kinda done.
They're getting close.
Yeah.
They went ahead and, the rock ledge that we had an issue about, they went ahead and got a hammer in there
Oh.
and beat some of that out. So we got a lot more big riprap now. But, yeah, you can kinda see in the layout of kinda way it's looking and everything.
Well, it looks a lot different than when they started.
Yes, it does. A lot different.
They did a good job in there.
Outside of that, I think, well, Ron had mentioned we had a road closing that we probably should have done there at 9:30, I guess. But, probably ought to take care of that.
Okay,
Do you, here's the map. Do you want to explain where it is, Glenn? I don't.
Well, it's, yeah, I can find it. It's on Morrell Road, and it, starts at, 333rd and goes south for 2,320 feet, stopping at that point and, closing all within. That roadway is very primitive. It would take, there's lots of rock. Yeah, you're crossing a stream, crossing actually a smaller stream there also, which never has had a bridge at that location. Actually, all the people that has access or needs access has it off of 341st from the south.
okay,
And it stops where, if you look at it there, Fred, it stops where there's two different landowners, that has entrances is where it stops at there, at the south end of where the,
Okay.
Who requested the road closing?
Bill and Shirley Hornsby, is one of the landowners on the west side, and helped me out on the.
Yeah, that's fine, it was
The other
Adjacent
land,
landowners.
Ryan. Boy, I can't. CASSINR.
yeah, that's fine,
both the landowners.
landowners that are adjacent to the road.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, that's good enough
Yes,
for me.
they have property, the, latter one there has property on the, east side, and, Orange Juice has it on the, west side.
Is there, anybody opposed to it?
Not, I know of in here anyhow. Ron has had it,
We haven't
published
heard,
in the paper.
we haven't heard from anyone, and the both
Yeah.
landowners have signed off on it.
And
We have a order.
Do we have a
I don't
resolution or
have
what?
the order ready, but if you wanna approve it, then I'll get it ready and you can sign it.
Yeah, I move we approve resolution blankety blank.
No, just approve the closing of the road, and then I'll get the.
Oh,
order ready.
okay, I move we approve the closing of the road as indicated.
a second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Glenn, can I have that back? Glenn,
She wants that back.
you can have that.
Let me see that a minute.
The back on the back.
Yeah.
I got preliminary copies on the, bridge inspection. I'll go through it, see if anything stands out, then they can publish off the final books. So, I did get that, well, we just opened the mail up there a little bit ago. So that's all, should be finalized and everything for too long, as long as everything looks okay in the manual book. Got, couple, 3 culverts we're gonna be putting in this week. The guys have finished up the mowing rounds on the, gravel roads now and are starting to work on blacktops. So hopefully we get that all mowed all the way back to right of way by here before too long.
Right,
It'll go a lot faster on the
right.
blacktops. So they'll make a lot better time.
Had someone told me to tell you that they were doing an awful nice job of mowing out on 189th Street.
Good. We also got a phone call from a, person up on Old 75. It was one of the blacktops we started on. And I told her it was very, very nice to get those kind of phone
Yeah,
calls.
it is. You don't get many of those,
Right.
She was very happy.
yeah.
But, yeah, everybody notices,
Yeah,
mowed back. They like especially this time of the year with the deer traffic. And
Oh, yes.
they really like it that way. Where you got a little better sight angle.
November 17th, Peak Deer Day, so keep that in mind.
Is that the date?
Oh, yes, it's, KDOT's got a chart and it shows it, and it's dramatically on the 17th. That's when they all get hit, yep. 10-year history, so. You had a question?
Quick question for Glenn. I've had several people call me about the bridge on Wanamaker, Salt Creek Bridge.
Yes.
Do you know any status on it?
Well,
To answer the question for them. I don't know if they've contacted you or not, that's why I'm asking.
No, nobody has really, but yeah, we knew about it and, our person that had, or the contractor company that has been doing our asphalt work has that scheduled in to do a little overlay on top of that, as well as another little project and approach on another bridge. But, That's all I can say right now. I'm kinda at the mercy of when
So no,
they get
no
available.
time.
They're, I think they're working in Osage or
Oh,
about
is
to.
it Hams?
No, not
Okay,
Hams.
Hams is over there now. I see that.
Well, Lakin Street, Kellogg was gonna do that for the city.
Yeah, they're,
And
it's
I-
closed today, so,
I was hoping that they would do it here shortly, but yeah, we're kinda waiting on them. And yeah, the bridge contractors will say, or the CFS bridge engineers will say, oh, that's bad, but it is a fix until you have money to allow for a deck repair, because that's about the only alternative on that bridge. We've had them look at that part of it, the substructure is good. It just needs to have the deck removed and new deck building.
Do we do that ourselves in the county, is that, we hire that out? I didn't know if we had a bridge fixing.
We don't have a bridge crew, so to speak, anymore. We used to have, but no, we don't anymore. But no, that would curtail, probably a 6 months shutdown, probably.
And they did reduce the speed limit though on it or something, somebody said.
Well, that was on the steel deck bridge to the north of that. Yeah, that's kind of a long story short on that one, but, Hams was hauling their millings off of the roadway where they were doing on 56 and part of 31 there, east of Osage. And they're hauling the millings over to the rock quarry. And if you look at some of the trucks, I know they don't meet the weight limit. And we tried to just get them to slow down and go across that bridge deck, because Jim,
I was under it when one went over and it swayed about 4 inches. And there's 15 beams under it.
yeah, we have 15 beams, the load rating on it is
That's the
pretty,
Jersey Creek, that's about a half a mile or a quarter mile south of
Yeah.
31.
yeah.
Cause they're
So,
busting all the asphalt out.
we were
on top
just
of it.
trying to get them to
yeah.
keep from tearing our bridge totally up by putting the suggested speed limit on it. It wasn't a,
So whoever checks those trucks on weight,
Those they
or
don't.
who's allowed to check those trucks on weight?
by what the information I've got, is that was a KDOT construction project. They were exempt from following, yeah, they were exempt from the weight limit.
I believe that'd be something I'd wanna take up with my, representatives at the state
I-
relation.
They need, if something needs to,
Cause they're not gonna pay to fix it. when they
No.
tear it down.
Right,
but, and I had a deputy that checked in on that, and that's what he come back with, is that they were actually exempt, being they were working on a KDOT project. They were exempt from the weight limit.
So when you have a dump truck in the county and you're running around on the state highway, are you exempt?
No, I'm afraid not.
Why not? It's a county project, where they go?
I know, but,
KDOT exempts themselves on a lot of
Yeah.
things. I know.
I agree, it'd be nice if that clause wasn't in there, because they were obviously overloaded, like Jeff said. I mean, this bridge has been built since back in the 90s, I think, when we built that. And yeah, the load rating on it is real good, but hitting it just as, 55 mile an hour with a
That impact load's pretty tough on them.
100,000 pounds maybe
Yeah,
on
'cause
it,
they're
you
flying
know?
down the road.
Why, and it's just a steel deck bridge, it's not a concrete deck on that particular one. But that's why the speed limit was put up there. We didn't figure they'd probably pay attention to it, but.
Well, if they got enough tickets.
Well, yeah. But it wasn't there wasn't an official speed limit, and that has to be done by resolution, so it was just a suggested limit. Okay,
Okay,
got anything else?
nothing I know of, so.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll get it out of your hair then.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan. Might get you back to work quickly here.
Bryce out there? Okay.
Yeah, when you guys got some free time, pull that up on the website. I know you guys have websites at home.
Sourcewell?
Pull up Sourcewell.
Okay.
It's
Bryce.
not, I mean, it's not a new company, they've been around for 40 years.
Yeah.
Why we haven't used them for 40 years would be a good question, but still, there's points in there that they're out for certain, you're gonna take a group and they're gonna try to keep that, going, just
Yeah.
like good car stores do.
Yeah.
They'll pay a franchise fee for a reason, they don't want anybody else in it.
How's Bryce doing today?
I'm fine. House Commissioners, Rhonda?
Okay.
Matt? Yes. Sourcewell, fire district, our fire district belongs to Sourcewell.
Okay.
And we just purchased a new fire engine through them, and they have a tremendous amount of products
Right.
that you can get some pretty good discounts on. And it's a free, I mean, it's free, it doesn't cost you a thing, so. Too many papers. I have two purchase orders. First one will finish out the port account fit test equipment that we need.
Okay.
Two of the fire districts finally, Friday, got me the information I've been waiting on for about 60 days, so.
Right.
It's CARES money. We'll be able to take care of them on that first one.
And these are gonna be available to all fire districts and to use them,
Yes.
or are you gonna have a central location?
They will be kept with merchant management, and they'll be able to be issued out to individual fire districts whenever they're needed.
Do you have to have a special training to run this?
I
Some of
can-
the old fit test machines was pretty,
These new ones are pretty easy to use.
okay,
Once you get them hooked, I mean, hook up a bunch of cables,
Right.
plug them in, there's a computer there.
okay.
It just tells you
The
step by
computer
step.
pretty well runs it through
It
the whole
runs it
thing.
through step by step.
Okay,
One go through of one person at a department.
right,
They would be fine to go.
okay. So. Okay, I move we approve purchase order 3516 to TSE? TSF? TSI. Okay, for two, fit test machines in the amount of $830. So second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Second one is for
We need to.
1,000 N95 masks and another 200 safety glasses, CARES money for PPE to McKesson and/or Fire District Number 5.
So, backing up a little bit, does a fireman have to get a medical physical in order to get a fit test?
Not a medical physical.
Okay. I was on emergency response for Wolf Creek, and we had to do a medical,
With the volunteer
Fit test.
department, it's a little bit different.
because I'm kinda surprised that they don't have to do kind of a little quick test before they let you
Well,
run.
they have to answer some questions in a sheet.
Okay,
You know, do you have respiratory issues?
okay,
Have you been fit tested before? Have you been?
self-certify then,
Yes, have you been to a doctor with lung issues?
Okay.
Breathing problems within the last
okay,
X number of months or years?
okay,
So that, yes, there is a little bit of self-evaluation.
okay, good enough. I move we approve, purchase order 3515 to McKesson Medical, for, N95 masks and safety glasses in the amount of $1,892.56.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On this PPE, and I've only spent, about $6,000 what we have authorized. I'm still working on gloves with from a couple different sources. We'll probably buy some more N95s,
Right,
but they work us kind of on an allocation. You can get so many right now, and hopefully in a couple weeks I'll be able to get some more.
right,
Now, with that said, yeah, I can go buy 10,000 N95s today
right,
if I wanna pay $5 or $10 a piece.
right,
And we're getting these for a little bit over $1, so.
right.
And kind of watch to see what's gonna happen in the next, 2 or 3 weeks with cases.
Right.
Kansas has just been kind of going up. Osage County, I mean, we're kind of,
Right,
we're not 2 or 3, maybe 4 a week, but
right,
nothing gigantic like some of the counties have in the last, which
Norton County.
is good, Shawnee County.
You know what's crazy about that whole deal is what Bryce has said, we're one of the counties that our numbers aren't changing a lot. And you look at the north, you look all that, their numbers are going up. What's the major difference? They're at a mask mandate, we're not. I don't get what, so,
Well-
I don't understand why.
There's a
Other
lot
than
more
there's-
testing out there too,
Well, and there's a
and,
lot, in Osage County, we got a lot more room to get away from everybody.
Right.
So it's not like we're all on top of each other.
but still, we're not testing unless you have kind of a symptom, where other places have to drive up testing or whatever, and, you know,
Some of the counties, you can get a test if you want a test. Shawnee
can.
County's got to drive up.
You get it in a nursing home, now the numbers are gonna go up.
Yeah.
And that's where some of the
right,
Norton County, they just got, they have one nursing home total.
Right.
Everybody in that nursing home, their staff was infected, so.
right, and then the correction facility, they,
But then they take that into the whole community, and that's, you know, that, if you have a plant, you know, something like that that happens in a prison.
Right.
Those people aren't going anywhere, other than the officers, but,
right,
so why would you commute that to your whole county and wanna close your county down
Yeah,
based on the numbers?
I agree.
That's where you start getting into.
that's where you cross your fingers and
The reason
hoping
I
our
ask
governor
for
doesn't do
opinions
anything.
start coming in, because I mean, if the group is there and not in there,
Right,
it's not like they're in the public population.
The EOC enhancement grant is moving along quite well. We've got everything in now except for 2 laptops. And we'll be getting that stuff mounted and functional here in the next 30, 45 days, brings that in from the end of the year. So it'll be completed and done. And we do have an elevated fire danger this week.
yeah,
Fire danger today is high and
We gonna have wind all week?
they're talking about wind all week. So we were very high
right,
a few days ago,
Yeah.
but,
Did you have any fire?
very few
Good.
we've been real fortunate. And the ones we've had, the fire districts have been able to get on and get them out in pretty quick time. I would like to attend an executive session for non-elected personnel issue.
okay. I move we go to executive session for non-elected personnel, 10 minutes, starting at 10:15. Have a second?
A second.
All in favor? Aye,
Aye.
motion carries.
10 minutes. So we got Jackie's.
Jackie's coming
I
in,
have
yeah.
a few things, if you're ready for it.
Okay, yes.
Okay, I have some salary increases, there's those.
Okay. I move we approve the 1-year raise for Sasha. What's her name?
Kaysen?
Kaysen?
Maybe?
That's good. Okay, and the sheriff's department,
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
These things are contracted, why do we have to approve them?
Because the auditors like to see that piece of blue paper in the personnel files if they pick
Didn't
one
I?
to,
Well, that just needs his signature.
yeah, just needs his.
And I move we approve the 5-year raise of 25 cents to Nolan Thompson in the jail.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And I move we approve the promotion of Robert Brenner in the sheriff's department from deputy to investigations.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I gotta change those. I put the wrong date on them.
Oh, that's.
I put one instead of
Okay,
two.
or that.
Those other two.
Okay, all right, then I have the, Lake Region Authority budget.
Oh, yes. The county has to approve the budget for the Lake Region Solid Waste Authority, which we're a member of.
Do they do anything?
Yeah, they do a waste management plan that we don't have to do.
That's
We
it.
pay $4,600 a year to be part of the consortium, 6 counties. And, yeah, they're supposed to do some recycling information and stuff, but the main thing is do a waste management plan, which each county would have to do on their own.
Right.
And it's a lot cheaper to have be a member than it is do your own.
We've been a member of that a long time.
Yes, so,
Okay.
and all we have to do is approve our approval so they can have it for their minutes. So I move we approve the budget.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, you're just full of stuff, Rhonda.
I have a pile. And the Class B club license for Club Four Corners, Lisa Jolly, she's had a permit for
Ever.
ever.
Right.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look, but it's been a long
Okay,
time.
I move we approve the club license for Club Four Corners.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I have 2 change orders.
Okay, I move we approve the personal property change orders.
I'll
Blankety
second
blank
that.
and blankety blank.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, and this is out of general fund treasure line item.
Okay, I move we approve purchase order 3550 to CMRSFP, postage for the treasurer's office in the amount of $3,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And here's a purchase order from the conceal and carry fund.
Move we approve the purchase order 3543 to Quill for a Brother laser printer, cartridges, and paper. And it's out of the concealed carry fund.
How many dollars?
Amount of $839.93.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
These are all out of the CARES Act for the Sheriff's Department. I want to make sure we've got them all going the right direction here for you.
Okay. I move we approve purchase order 3544 to Quill for the Osage County Sheriff's Department out of the CARES Act. And this is basically sanitizers, paper towels, etc. An amount of $1,070.09.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Move we approve purchase order 3545 to Navarets, Osage County Sheriff's Department, CARES Act, more cleaning, disinfecting, stuff, etc., in the amount of $1,664.38.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I move we approve purchase order 3547, Nebraska Furniture Mart. 3 iPad Pros for offender registration out of the Registered Offenders Sheriff's Department. So, amount of $3,114.
What in the world is this?
Is that, oh, that's on, what is it?
iPad Pro
Okay,
says,
but let me see the, where, I thought they had those sorted by, they didn't. This is the Registered Offenders Fund. So this is the
right,
Sex Offenders Fund. But I thought that was all CARES Act. I'm sorry. I thought when she handed me that file, it was all
no.
CARES. I apologize.
okay,
My fault.
you just got one outline.
Okay.
That's okay. Sorry.
I try not to get too.
You want me to do the rest of the CARES Act?
No, that's fine. I just.
Okay. Anyhow,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I move we approve purchase order 3546 to McKesson for the, out of the CARES Act for the Osage County Sheriff. Surgical mask and N95 mask. Amount of $6,594.98.
What that damn CARES Act is costing.
Yes.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
You done with that, this guy?
Yep.
All right, here's the order for the road closing.
Motion we have cover that, or do we need a motion to adopt that resolution?
It's an order, not a
Order.
resolution, so you
Order.
could just do a motion to approve the order and sign it.
I move we approve the order, for the road closing on South Morrell Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
That's currently the bottom of my stack.
Okay. Yes,
Quick question. For the last few weeks, I've sat in here and I've watched a bunch of purchase orders come through, and we see Quill, we see Best Buy, we've seen all these companies. Why are we not trying to buy any of this stuff from our local businesses? We have businesses in the county that sell the same stuff, why are we not trying to utilize those services? Why do we send everything out of the county?
I don't know who's providing it, so I guess we can,
I mean, my point is, you
Right.
guys are approving the purchase orders, and nobody's even asking if they looked at any local businesses. At our school district, they were doing the same thing. We're now buying a lot of stuff locally, and we're figuring out that we're saving money, and here's the big thing, you guys like to preach about all this service.
right,
Who's gonna give you the best service?
I agree with you.
Local company Or Quills or Best Buy?
right,
And we're talking computers, and today we're talking iPads, and we're talking printers and cartridges. I mean, there's no reason why we can't try to buy all that locally and put that money back into our community instead of sending it out. I think that's something that we should have all of the department heads look at and try, at least attempt. I mean, if there's a big difference, then yeah, I understand that, but
right.
in most cases, a lot of this stuff a local business could get and keep that money within our communities.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's easy to go online and look up Quill, and,
Exactly.
you know,
That
understand
doesn't
it.
make it right. I mean, you understand what
I
I'm saying.
understand that, yes.
Quill's not gonna give us any money back into our county.
Yeah,
A local business pays everything.
Well, okay.
Property tax.
right, I understand that too, but, yeah, okay,
They brought
point's
it
taken.
Friday when we had a line clear back to the thing,
Okay,
and I thought the whole file folder was to come in here.
okay,
It's me,
that explains it.
yeah, this was supposed to go to us, and I didn't get the whole file folder.
Jackie. You're up next. How you doing today? Yeah,
was tired now.
right,
The last time I was in, we talked about a payroll change on one of my employees who was hired in at an LPN rate, but she's an RN.
right,
So I've got the payroll status change report to change her to an RN's rate. Also, I've talked about how we're having some trouble hiring because our salaries are not competitive anymore with what other places are paying. So, we actually had a survey that went out through CALD, which is Kansas Association of Local Health Departments, and they put out, how much RNs and administrators in different counties were making.
right,
I put a few of those, some of them didn't put their name for the county, so I only put down ones that I know what county it was. There are only 2 that are bordering us, but there are others that are fairly close. And then I did, Stormont Vale and Coffee County Hospital, just their RN, and then Stormont Vale's charge nurse rate. Just to give you an idea what I'm up against, because I still haven't found anybody. As soon as I tell them what they'll make, they don't come back.
What are we, you don't have us on there?
Our RN rate is
Am I
20.
right on this?
Our RN rate is 20 to 21. And I don't know what the administrative rate, because it's put in the salary range, and I don't know what the start is.
right.
I know what I make, which is 21, 25 or something like that if you break it down by hour. I know the Coffee County administrator makes a solid $20,000 a year more than I do.
Well, yeah, I understand, Coffee County's a little different. And, yeah,
Okay, so the next thing I have, this is CARES Act fund, that was in the stuff that we turned in before. This is for the medical carts, there's 2 of them, they're stainless. And I didn't think this was gonna be something we were gonna need, but we will. I went through the CDC's guidelines on what we have to do in order to be able to give, the COVID vaccine. And I have the forms that we have to fill out in order to be approved by the state to be able to do it. And I haven't done that yet, but I have to have a plan of what we're going to do in order to tell them what, you know, we're gonna do to be able to give it. We have the capacity because we've got our freezer. But one thing we have to consider is the amount of people that will come in, and obviously we can't have large gatherings of people in small areas. So the only solution I have is to do a drive-through type. It's not gonna be completely drive-through because there's really not a good traffic flow around there without.
Yeah.
So there will be some things that we need to talk about, maybe even with the sheriff's department on how to do some traffic direction and things. If we do this, it would be a scheduled day or scheduled time, depending on the demand. We would not do other services at the health department at that time, again, depending on the demand. People would come up and park there on the south side. There's like 5 spots.
Right.
We would have a staff member who would be in charge of kind of checking in, getting paperwork done, finding out how many people need the vaccination, their ages, that kind of stuff. Then there would be 1 to 2 nurses that would be doing vaccinations, and they would have a cart that will have the vaccine, all of their supplies, and they can wheel that up and down the sidewalk and just go to a car, administer the vaccine, and go. I'm hoping that we can do this when the weather isn't terrible, but the way we have our waiting room out there, we've got that open area and they can go in and out, the staff can go in and out. But we wouldn't have people in and out of the health department
Right.
in order to keep down the chance of contamination.
So if someone could, if you're doing it, how long would it take to get the information you need from the people?
Shouldn't
And
take
if-
too long. Basically what would happen is the person would give them a form. They would fill it out while they're in the car. And so nurses would be giving it, you know, vaccinations to somebody else while they're filling out their paperwork. When they get their paperwork done, then they come down and give them their vaccination. That person that just got their vaccination done would pull out, somebody else would pull in, get the paperwork to them. So it's gonna be a shuffle game. But since we're not doing the building where people are just driving through,
Right.
then that's the only other way we have. And it's not covered, so if there's weather,
Right.
we won't be able to do it. So it's gonna be kind of a hit and miss, but that's the only solution I have to be able to do it. And that's what we need the carts for, is so that we can keep our
Right.
supplies in it.
Okay. No, I don't have a problem with that. I'm just trying to figure out a better way to get having people
too.
pulled in and parking and backing out
I know.
is
I'm
not the best
sure.
thing either.
The only other thing I thought was the community center.
To
Because
have
they
a
the
complete
covered-
drive-through, yes.
They have the covered area, we could possibly do that if they will allow us to use the building. But that means my staff has to move everything down there.
Right,
And with the vaccine, we may have to limit time slots, cause
Right.
we can only be out of that vaccination cooler for so long, unless we are really able to make sure that we can monitor the temperature in whatever container we take it in.
right.
So,
But if you could have like a 2-hour drive-through there, and then
that would,
say one in the morning and one late in the afternoon or
Possibly.
something like that.
it just is, I would rather keep it in the health department.
Well, I
That's a lot of
understand that
back and
too.
forth, the hauling crap back and forth.
I understand that too, but,
And those carts and stuff, yeah, if we can keep it at the health department, that would be a lot better.
okay. Well, let's get this first, so. So I move we approve purchase order 3533 to Detecto, part of the CARES Act for 2 medical carts for immunizations in the amount of $2,100.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And with the salary thing, if you guys would, just look that information over and let me know what you think, and if you want me to try and do up a plan or something, I'm happy to do that. I understand that that's not something that's quick and easy, that it's something that has considerations attached, so. But I
Right,
just wanted to give that to you so you knew
okay.
what I'm up against. and why I'm.
But
having a
we're
hard
changing
time.
this one from an LPN to an RN rate.
Yes,
Okay.
because she is an RN.
I move we approve the status change for Rebecca Allman from $17 an hour to $20 an hour as an RN. So,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And you need another RN, is that correct?
We're right now have it open for about anybody. I'm taking considerations on other people who may have a medical background. But with COVID vaccinations coming up, I really need somebody who can give shots. And that doesn't have to be an RN or an LPN, it can be some other lower end ones like a CMA, but they have to have those certifications. If I hire somebody that doesn't have that certification, there's other things they can do, but it reduces the capacity that I will have to administer vaccinations. The person, if they don't have that ability, they'll be relegated to basically paperwork at that time. So to have somebody who can give the vaccinations is pretty important, but an RN is preferred, but an LPN or even a lower level is, I'm open. And
Right.
I've talked to several people about that. And I have gone through several people, and just as soon as I tell them, they ask the salary range and I tell them and they're like, ooh. So that's the problem I've run into, but we'll do what we can. See if
Are
we can get
nursing
somebody.
schools still putting out?
I've contacted both of them.
Okay.
Well, the two big ones that are in Topeka, I contacted Baker and Washburn.
Okay,
I have friends at both, and I've let them know to, please let their students know that I have that. I do have a student who is LPN who is interested that I'm gonna talk to sometime in the next couple of weeks, so
okay,
she's on quarantine right now, so I can't talk to her.
okay. Mr. Hurd,
Yes, Jackie,
Yes.
okay, just to go a little further about what you're talking about here. You're wanting to do it, or are you going to do this testing, drive up?
It's not testing, it's vaccination. We don't do testing here.
Okay, so you're talking about vaccinations.
Right. If and when they
For
come
what,
out.
flu or?
COVID. If and when they come out with an approved vaccine, and if we are approved as a vaccination provider to administer it, we still have to turn in the paperwork to the state that gives our declaration that says we would like to be a provider, but there's certain things you have to meet their requirements in order to be able to do. So we have to turn in that paperwork. We don't have a vaccine yet. So this is all in preparation for the possibility of doing so.
Okay, so what time frame are you looking at?
We
here
don't
possibly?
know. We don't know. I mean, we were told 2 months ago, October, now we're being told maybe November. Who knows? And even if it comes out in November, that doesn't mean that we will have it to give to the public in November. Because the state has a vaccination plan, and that plan has to be followed per the state. So they're not just gonna give us vaccine until they're at the point in their plan that we can give it to the public. So even if the vaccine becomes available tomorrow, which it won't, just as an example, that doesn't mean that the vaccine will be available to the general public tomorrow. Because there's a list that they go through, and the first line of people that get the vaccine are frontline workers. So healthcare workers in the hospital, people who are direct care to COVID patients. Once they do that, then they'll go to the next tier, and then they'll go to the next tier. So there's a plan that the state has put in place, which if you wanna look at it, you can go on their website, KDHE's website, and find it. So that's what we have to go by. I'm just looking at preparing for that.
Okay, so now you mentioned the community building down here. Okay, the civic. Okay, now I think that's a good idea, but have you approached the city what you're wanting to maybe do here?
No,
right,
I just want my cards.
yeah.
I
We gotta do that
understand-
first.
I understand
Yeah.
that.
There's a long list the
Yeah.
things we
I
gotta do
know,
first.
I know, but
And I
this
don't
is
wanna
the
go
big
down
thing,
there.
huh?
I don't want to use that facility, because to do that there's a lot of logistical things that have to happen, and I have to leave my department, because I can't send a nurse to the community center to do this. This is gonna be a lot bigger deal. So my staff is gonna have to move down there, and the health department will close. So that's part of this whole planning process. That's what we're in.
Well, it's good to do that.
Yes.
I'm not denying that. I'm just, you know, is there gonna be a different, way they're gonna have to vaccinate? I mean, are
No.
you going, no, or just like by a normal,
It's just like a flu shot.
like a few shot
Yeah.
type thing? Okay.
As far as I know, unless they, spring something different on me, but that's what we're told.
So you'll come back once you,
I'm sure there'll be more
Yeah.
discussions about it, yes.
Right.
okay, all right, thank you.
The general public's gonna be a long ways down the list.
Well, yeah, I know that.
You know.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But, this is a, step way of looking at it in
Yeah.
advance, I mean, for all of us. I mean,
Yeah,
for some-
that's our whole, we have an entire department within our department that is emergency planning. And that's where this is coming from. We have books written on how to do all this, and that's what we're following as our protocols.
Okay, Mr. Bailey.
Jackie, and probably commissioners too. The lady that had the payroll mistake or whatever, that is an RN, how long has she been an RN getting paid as an LPN?
Well, she's been an RN, I believe she graduated in the 80s. I mean,
So how long has she been, I mean, my question is this, does it need,
She's
do the
been here-
commissioners need to go back and make
No,
a motion to pay
No.
back pay?
no. When she was hired, we were hiring for an LPN.
So this
And
was
when
a new
she was
job.
hired, I specifically told her, I'm hiring for an LPN, that's what I'm approved for, and that's what I'm approved to pay for. And she agreed to work at that level as an RN for an LPN salary.
Okay, so she moved, you made the position to move to RN, so that increased the pay, it's not where they
Yes.
haven't been.
Right.
No.
Okay,
Right.
It was not it wasn't a mistake, it
Right.
was
okay.
known and accepted, and we are now moving her.
I just wanted to make sure if we owed her back pay that we
No,
get paid.
yeah,
Right.
no. Nope,
Okay, anything else?
nope, unless you got something for me.
No, I think,
Alright,
so far, we think everything's going okay.
alright, if you have questions, give me a call.
Any status on your house? How's that going?
Well, it's, the hurry up and wait with insurance.
Okay.
We are finding out today what, our payout basically will be from
Okay.
insurance. So that will give us the, information we need to know what we're doing next.
Right,
So that's what we're looking at. We're like,
Okay.
If we get this much, then we can do this. If we
Right.
get this much, we get. So that's where we're at. It's just
okay,
hurry up and wait.
yep, okay,
Planning.
How's our COVID numbers looking in the county?
COVID numbers are going up. They're going up everywhere. One thing I have to say, the media is taking this and going, oh my gosh, we're record numbers,
Yeah.
I understand that, but the numbers are not going to go down. Okay, because they start at 1 and they go up. They're not going to start reducing those numbers. That's not gonna happen. When you have a virus, viruses grow exponentially in number. You start out with one person gives the virus to 2 people, now you have 3 people, and those 3 people all give it to 3 people, and so there's an exponential growth, and it does not come down. So, yes, the numbers are going up, they're going to go up, and they're going to go up exponentially, so the number's going to keep rolling faster as it goes downhill. That's the nature of an illness that is contagious. With that said, I don't want people to say, oh, well, it's just not that big a deal. It is. We still need to do the things we need to do to protect ourselves. We wear a mask when we're out in public, we're 6 feet apart, y'all, we're okay. Don't freak out about stuff. I mean, you can go to Walmart. Do you have a risk? Yes, you have a risk. If you are really afraid of it, if you're elderly, if you have underlying health conditions, stay home, have someone else go do that for you. Or take the precautions, wear a mask, do those things like that. That's what we've been trying to tell people all along. Don't feel like you can't go do the things that you want to do, but do them within reason. It's not a good idea to go to a large gathering right now. Are we saying in our county you can't? No. We are giving you the adult ability to make that decision. Is it recommended? No, it's not. But just kinda wanted to put that out there, so that, yes, the numbers are going up. They're gonna go up. Our numbers in Osage have been going up. I don't remember how many we had over the weekend, but it was quite a few for our county. Compared to other places, not, but in our county, quite a few. We've had several deaths in our county now. So it just hits home that this is real. This isn't something, to poo-poo, but it's something to not be so scared of that you don't live your life.
Is the kids that getting it, are we getting a
Nope.
lot of the kids or not?
Nope, kids aren't getting it. I'm not saying they're not getting it at all,
Yeah.
but they aren't the ones that are spreading it so much. And they are not the ones that are getting really sick. They will get it, but most of the time, they don't have much of any symptoms. They turn up positive because somebody else in their household was positive, and they all go get tested. And then everybody ends up with it. That's common. Most of our positives are household contacts. So somebody gets it from somewhere, we can't really say where, because it's all over. They come home and everybody in the household gets it, and that's.
But we haven't had any deaths of kids.
Not even close.
Good.
Alright, good.
And trying to keep a bus load of kids wearing their masks is tough.
Good luck, yeah, good luck with
I
that.
guarantee you that.
Try to get a busload of people, adults going
Well,
to the casino to keep their mask on.
Yeah, I know,
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, guys.
so. I bribed them with candy last week, so maybe that'll be better this week.
Whatever works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, it's Halloween party, but. You have anything else in your pile?
I do not.
Or do I?
Do you have anything, Pat, needs to bring brought up? Okay. Well, I guess we'll be back next week, so.
Move we adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.